if we do a selfie. Richard? My son, Richard, is totally dependent on other people to help him engage with this world and to make sure he survives. But isn't that fascinating? Sometimes I actually feel that Richard is my therapist. He knows nothing about world politics. He has no ego. He doesn't judge me. It's quite liberating. It's hold my hand and let's play a song together. Happy day to you.
Deirdre loves and loved Richard from the minute he was born. She has given him her all. Yeah, everything.
Richard?
I think Deirdre is much frailer than she was.
I want to thank you for all you've contributed in 45 years on planet Earth.
I think she's been preparing for her death from day one with Richard. And so the pressure is now on Deirdre to work out who's going to look after Richard from this point on.
My only concern is Richard's future. I feel like there's no time to be wasted.
Deirdre, I've found these photos in my storage.
Oh, gosh.
So you must have prepared these for the first film, I think.
Yeah.
Pregnancy, hospital, post-birth.
Have we got any tissues?
I met Deirdre in 1989, and it was the beginning of a documentary journey that spanned nearly 3 decades as we made 3 films about her life with Richard.
You rolling? Yeah. Okay, Deirdre, what I'd like to talk about in this interview are the positive aspects of being Richard's mother, of being mother of a kid with special needs.
Are you still going? Yeah.
The experience of Richard has given me an opportunity to appreciate the individuality of our children and their value in their own right, irrespective of whether you can puff out your chest and boast about winning a race or topping the class.
See,
That was so wise, wasn't it?
and still are. I thought Deirdre had a remarkable story to tell, but more importantly, I thought she would tell it with great candour and honesty. I thought she'd be brave enough to go on the journey, and that's proven to be correct.
He doesn't like the bandage, he tries to make it. I finished school in 1970 and I went to the University of Western Australia. I had a degree in psychology and I embarked on a career in journalism. I was going on 23 when I married Charlie.
They were both very different people. Charlie had been a Vietnam vet and had had a harder childhood than Deirdre. But of course, family for both Charlie and Deirdre were important. In those days, you were married for 2 years, you got the house and then you got the baby. So their life was looking idyllic.
My experience of being pregnant was one of the best times of my life. I was absolutely intrigued by what felt like a miracle of life developing in my body.
Deirdre was wheeled off. I was left pacing up and down, and some 15, 20 minutes later, they came out and said, mother's fine, but the baby's not too good.
They performed a caesarean operation and I was conscious and I could feel them pulling and yanking and trying to get him out of my body.
He just had a faint heartbeat and he was unconscious for a week and he was having seizures for most of that time.
It was birth injury, birth trauma. He'd had a brain injury of some kind.
And then all of a sudden he regained consciousness and I breastfed him the next day. And it seemed like he'd had a miracle recovery.
Richard and my daughter Rihanna were only 6 weeks apart. And so in those early days, they seemed pretty much the same. You know, Richard was smiling when Deirdre went into him in the mornings and he was babbling a little bit as Rihanna was.
I guess with child development, because it is an incremental process, it was only over time that it became apparent what the consequences of the brain damage were.
Dog. Richard. Dog. Dog. It's not dog. Dog. It seems like there are surprises all along the way and you just never know what he might be capable of doing. The dreams of what might be available if he does talk. I'd really love that, really love that. Be nice, wouldn't it, Richard? Hey? You could say some things to him.
You imagine the story of your life and how it might plan out and what your dreams are. And sometimes, maybe always, those stories change.
Deirdre was thrown straight into motherhood. And I think because of the stress that both she and Charlie were under, they didn't grieve for the baby that he never was.
I first met Deirdre when Richard was about 10 years old, and so she'd had a decade of stresses and strains. I felt she was running on empty. She wanted a film made about various issues to do with disability and with caring, and that's where the project began.
Don't.
I said to Deirdre, this can work at its best if it's kind of warts and all. And to her absolute credit, she has run with that without hesitation for nearly 3 decades.
I suppose for about 6 or 7 years, Richard had some incredible resistance to car travel. We're going to go to see our new house. What did you do with Daddy, Richard? No. Richard can't talk, so all he can be in the relationship is basically what he feels. Stop it, Richard!
Richard's aggression was often driven by his fear. So it wasn't like it was malicious. It's not like I hold a grudge against him for hurting me so much. But it's hard for me to remember how I endured that.
It was confronting seeing her dealing with many of those things. She said to me a number of times that she really hopes that people can see Richard's humanity first and foremost, that she really hopes people can see the person in front of them and not the problem. And for me, that goes to the heart of the matter.
Richard's father and I split up just before Richard turned 9, and we've come to an arrangement whereby he spends 1 week with his father and 1 week with me.
The marriage didn't bust up because of Richard. Richard was just additional stresses and strains.
At some point, Deirdre got together with Chris, who is a musician, a wonderful man.
That's the way it is. That's the way we are. When we swim against the tide, we don't get very far.
Chris's clear love of Richard was really evident.
And then I'll keep on going from...
And Richard's response to Chris and to his music was a delightful thing to see.
Chris and I, perhaps you could say we were soulmates.
Comes the chance to be together.
Chris never had children himself, but he seemed incredibly comfortable with Richard. He would just talk to him as if he would talk to a peer.
About 9 years later, when Richard turned 20, Charlie, his father, was his primary caregiver, and that was the main impetus for making that second documentary. He wanted to push the boundaries for Richard in all sorts of ways.
Things like taking him riding on the back of a motorbike is fairly hair-raising. A lot of people think that I'm silly for doing that. It's unnecessary risk. But that's fine. We do our things. We have a good time. I just love him passionately, dearly. That's basically what I'm living my life for, is for caring for Richard.
I don't envy the relationship between Charlie and Richard. I rejoice in it. I think it's a very beautiful thing. I really don't believe that I could physically manage his full-time care at this stage in his life and my life. I'm not strong enough. This experience has brought me to fulfil a role which I actually believe is my calling in life, if you like, and that's in advocacy. We have called our campaign Time to Care.
She'd advocated quite a bit early on, but then it gave her that opportunity to put more energy into making other people's lives better.
My son Richard was quite an aggressive young boy. I would be devastated in the privacy of my own home and open the front door with my plastic smile across my mouth. I'm fine, thank you very much. Yes, got it all handled. It's under control.
Bye-bye, Richard.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure.
Okay, thanks.
No worries. See you later.
I think people want disability to be inspiring. Somehow people with disabilities and their carers are these noble, bigger-than-life figures. And I think that's a pity. There are moments, of beautiful tenderness and softness, but there are horrendous times as well, and very, very challenging times that most people never encounter in their lives.
Come here. Come here, Maggie. You hold that one. You just stand there. You hold that. You hold that. Now, this is precarious.
Richard's life was very stable, but all that changed 2 years ago, and the human story has changed dramatically. And Charlie had a heart attack in 2012, and that's when Rich came back to live with me. Then he was admitted to hospital with cancer.
Charlie didn't last very long at all, so Richard's whole world was turned upside down.
Charlie was able to say goodbye to all the significant people in his life, but he couldn't bear to say goodbye to Richard. So it was just that his father suddenly disappeared. It's so hard to know what sense Richard makes of death. Daddy? See, there's Daddy. Daddy? There's your daddy. I believe he remembers them vividly. And why did they leave?
It was devastating. It was so hard for Richard. But Deirdre stepped up. She really did.
Richard needs someone with him 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Bathing him, feeding him, putting him to bed, getting up to him in the middle of the night. I was wearing out. I really was exhausted. It wasn't sustainable. I'm about to make my first visit to a group home to see whether it might be suitable for Richard. On the way here, I started to feel a little bit emotional because it felt like I'm making a decision on Richard's behalf. Did you know that Richard's going to come and stay here? After Jenny moves out, Richard's going to come up and just visit during the day. When you have been absolutely committed to the care and well-being of someone you know is very vulnerable, to entrust that to anyone else is very challenging and potentially traumatic. You know the level of Richard's capabilities, don't you?
Yeah.
The other members of the house, how do you think they'd accept him?
I think the boys especially, I think, would be fine. Andrew definitely, he just loves new people. So I think they'd be fine. And Richard's a nice, really nice guy.
He is a nice guy.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay, how are you feeling?
It must be so overwhelming.
It's just, I don't know, it feels like, I don't know, I can't describe it, just momentous. The decision has to be right because you can't make mistakes with Richard.
Yes.
Bye. Richard settled in beyond my expectations. I was relieved and he was happy and settled. There were a few support workers that he just absolutely bonded with.
Andrew, roll your boat.
All right.
Then I'll do Daniel, roll your boat, and then Richard. Calm down. Yes, you're happy, I know.
That's
you are.
Richard's happy sound.
Yeah.
And then within about a 6-month period, it just all went very, very wrong. He can't tell us if something has happened to him that has actually caused him to really lose the plot.
Take your hand out of your mouth.
He went into hospital at one stage in the making of the third film, just when Deirdre thought things were going really well.
Take your hand out of your mouth. At the group home, over 3 years, there were 8 emergency hospitalisations. Multiple tests were performed, no physical cause identified.
It just proved again how Richard's life is not a linear progression. It is waves of ups and downs that someone in Deirdre's position just has to navigate.
I've brought him home quite frequently because he hasn't been sleeping well. He might really be suffering, but he can't tell us. The last period of hospitalisation coincided with Chris being diagnosed with cancer. And I don't know how I did, to people in need of my support with that degree of intensity. I am absolutely exhausted now. And what I had been trying to do was to get Richard's life settled so that he wouldn't depend so much on my capacity. And I don't know how to help him overcome what he's going through now. Show me how you swing. Lift your feet up.
Charlie had left some financial resources for Richard, and before we finished filming the third documentary, Deirdre was talking about building a house for Richard.
That's not... Oh, well done.
That was a process that began about 8 years ago. This was the original house. There's the slab being laid. There's Richard helping out on site.
I would say it would have been 16 to 18 hours a day for months and months and months and months.
And we got the handover of the keys in July 2020. So Richard is secure for the rest of his life because this is his home. I think Richard is content. He has support staff on site 24/7.
Way in the wall.
6 days a week he goes out into the community with a different service provider. He leads a very healthy, regulated, ordered life.
Okay, bye-bye.
Deirdre Croft for Dr. Joe. Thank you.
I think, maybe slightly ironically, the challenge now is for Deirdre's accommodation and what she does in the next stage of her life.
I've got a little list. Of course. And I have a script for blood pressure. Most of my adult life has been focused on caring for other people, and I'm not very good at caring for myself. And I feel like there is a progressive deterioration on multiple levels. This past week I've been staying up at Richard's place.
Lovely.
Yeah, because he's got support staff up there, and now I feel quite vulnerable about the possibility of living alone. My beloved partner, Chris, passed away May 2021. It was a very gentle transition of gradually fading. He was very peaceful. I bought this a while ago. Richard doesn't use it, but because my back has been so bad, Maurice suggested that I might benefit from trying it myself.
Can you do it without your glasses? Or can you see? No.
My current quest is to mobilise a team for Richard that can be trained in what I do so that if I fall asleep and don't wake up, it's just a smooth transition and business as usual.
How does that feel, Deirdre?
Wonderful. Our intention is to set up a legal entity called a micro board. My hope is that because all of you have been involved in Richard's life over an extended period of time, will be able to contribute their knowledge, insight and care. The people who are part of the micro board will undertake different roles in relation to Richard's life.
2018, didn't you?
Yes.
So we've started the process of establishing Richard's microboard. It's hard to say at the moment just how long it will take before it's operational. Sure, that should be straightforward. She would like to hand it over, but she has to have a really high degree of confidence to be able to do that. And Deirdre's not there yet.
Now look at this. Just a minute. I might see what that looks like. Every day I take photos and I find it very restorative.
If there's an overarching theme for me that comes through the documentaries, it's that notion that care has to be shared, and we need to care for carers as well as caring for the most vulnerable amongst us.
I love capturing sunlit clouds, but I also love capturing birds in flight.
Deirdre is an unheralded champion, along with lots of other people like her. I think it's roughly 3 million people in Australia have a caring role in one form or another.
That's quite nice.
If someone like Deirdre, who has extraordinary capacity, education, ability to navigate bureaucracy, if she still finds it hard, how much harder must it be for someone who doesn't have that level of capacity?
We've been a bit light on with birds lately. I don't know why. Oh, look, there's a little birdie. Hello, Richard. It's Mummy here. I had an idea that I would make you some video clips that you could watch if I'm not around to show them to you. But right now, what I'd like to say to you is how much I value your contribution to my life. I could describe you as a life coach because...
Who are we to judge when a person's life is worth living or not? What is the bottom line? If not our intellectual capabilities, what is it that makes us essentially human, a worthwhile member of the human race, deserving of a life to be lived? Perhaps the real tragedy is not that there are people born who are less capable and therefore more dependent on others to care for them and to meet their needs, but that there are too many other so-called intellectually normal people who are severely handicapped in their capacity to give and care for others.
The last thing I want to say to you, Richard, is that I love you with all my heart, and I am so grateful that you've been a part of my life.